Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Jack McGreal, Director of Business Development here at Rival. Today, we're going to walk you through some of the latest enhancements to the Rival One trading platform. You'll see how we've expanded the platform's equities and options execution capabilities while maintaining a familiar look and feel, and at the same time improving the functionality. Driving your demo today is our Director of Product Management, Bernie Schwartz. He's going to be showing you a few different modules. These include the order entry ticket, order monitor, time and sales. We're going to show you how all of these modules interact and link together. Next, we're going to show you the options chain, and we'll wrap it up with the proprietary spreader tool. After that, we'll have time for some Q&A. In the meantime, you can drop questions into the chat as we go, and we can answer those along the way, and then recap it back at the end. But I'll hand it off to Bernie, and fire away, Bernie.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks very much. As Jack mentioned, we'll step through a handful of different tools, different features and functionality that we have. Please do send in questions at any time. You should see a little Q&A button at the top of your screen there. We will be happy to answer questions as we go along or at the end, but please don't hesitate to put any questions, comments in the chat there, and we will try to address all of them. What you're looking at right now is a very basic workspace in the Rival One platform. I won't go too much into detail about the workspace itself and how to create one. Certainly, once if anybody who does join Rival or ask for an individual demo, we can go through each of these components in detail and show you how those are added to our workspace and what each one does. In this view right here, I've got a handful of basic components. On the top left, I have we call our hot watch. Maybe market watch is a more familiar term to you, where we can display any of our products that we care about. I do have this set up by tabs. So in my main tab here, I've got a couple of futures, a couple of ETFs, and a couple of equities, and then I've segregated out this second tab to just show me equities. Our platform is multi-asset. We're going to be focused on equities today. But because we support futures and crypto for that matter as well, you'll find that when you start searching, you're going to see results that are in excess of what you may be looking for. So, for example, my favorite example is if I'm looking for Colgate stock, well, that's great. I can use my CL search, but I've also got my CL crude option futures down here as well. So just be aware of that when you're searching. But we also, the search is also a smart search. So if you don't know the specific stock name that you're looking for, our smart search will search on the description and get you to what you want. So I'll go ahead and add Citigroup in there. Market Watch will, of course, give you statistics on the day, current market, total size on the day, net change, etc. We also have a VWAP measurement in here. There are many, many more columns here that I am not showing. Particularly option Greeks, so our Delta, Gamma, Theta, Vega, a whole lot more instrument attributes that I'm not displaying just for the sake of space saving, but those can, of course, be exposed to whatever you desire. These can always be rearranged. You have a lot of flexibility within the components and the individual columns. From the Market Watch here, I do have the ability to enter an order. So clicking directly on the bid or the offer will open up an order ticket, and I can specify my price and quantity and launch that way. However, I'm going to be showing off at the bottom here the depth ticket, which is going to be a much more common, I think, for equities traders, much more commonly used for order entry. So we'll talk about the depth ticket in a minute. In the top right here, I have my portfolio component. You might think of it as position manager, which is going to track all my positions by symbol. And in the case that I have option positions on, those will be grouped under the underlying symbol. And when we get to the options part of this demonstration, I'll go into a little more detail about how that is organized and how you can view your option positions in the position manager. Below it here, I've got what we call order book, or you might think of as trading monitor all your orders. I have this segregated here by all orders. I've got working orders. Right now I have none working. I'm going to go ahead and put in an order that I know will not get filled. So we can see that that's going to be in our working orders section there. I've got another tab here for filled orders. And then I've got a linked tab here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about component linking in this screen as well. These are, you can have multiple components. So if I wanted to add another order book, rather than segregating by tabs, I certainly have the ability to do that and manipulate my workspace. In this case, I'm using tabs to save space for this demonstration. But keep in mind too that you can create as many workspace windows as you want. So I'm going to be toggling between multiple windows in the workspace during this demonstration. It's particularly helpful for if you have a multi-monitor setup and you want to spread out your workspace over several monitors. So there, you've got a whole lot of flexibility there in terms of creating windows, creating widgets, customizing your workspace. I won't go into a whole lot more detail there, but certainly we are available to answer any questions, or if you have questions during this meeting, we'd love to talk to you about those basic functions. Let's take a look down here at our depth ticket. In the bottom left, I've got a depth ticket up for NVIDIA, and I've got one here for Tesla, and then I've got a ticker for each one linked. Now, when I say linked, you see in the tab name this little hyperlink icon. So what I've done here is I've created two linked groups. I've got a red one and a green one. We give you a couple different options, so you can create up to 5 groups at a time. If you desire more, we can certainly add more. But what this is doing here is all of the tabs where I've got this red link are all going to be able to listen to messages from any other red linked tab. So if I go to my red tab up here and I select, let's go to Meta and take a look. So when I select Meta from my hot watch, we see number one that my depth ticket in the bottom left here updated to show me the Meta market. My ticker is updated to show me Meta. That is also linked. And then in my order book or my trading monitor, that's going to show me all the orders I have today in Meta. Now, I haven't placed any yet. Let's go ahead and put in a fill for Meta. I did get a fill there. But that would show up if you have that linked, that red link. Similarly, I've got a second tab here in my hot watch that I've linked as a green group. And then I've got this depth ticket down here and the ticker linked as green. So if I select now, let's go to NVIDIA, we can see that all my green components update. So my ticker is now showing me NVIDIA trades, and my depth ticket is showing me the market for NVIDIA. The same thing will apply from the portfolio. So if you prefer to manage your position and flip back and forth between products in the portfolio, that's absolutely possible as well. So in this case, my red group, I'm looking at Meta right now. If I select Microsoft, we'll see that we update there at Microsoft and the depth ticket and in the ticker. So that kind of linking, and I'll get into a little bit more of that when we talk about the options features, because that can be very valuable, very powerful when it comes to options and viewing different option series so that you don't have to have a million widgets in your workspace at the same time. I'm going to talk a little bit about order execution and management within the depth ticket itself. So we've got, you can see level 1 data here. We have level 2 data coming. For this demonstration, we have top of book, we have level 1 at each exchange. And I'm going to operate here in this NVIDIA depth ticket. To enter an order, certainly you can go in here and enter your quantity, price, order type, etc. But all of that is controlled through our settings. So in my global trading settings, I have default set for stocks. So I've got my default internal route. I am operating the UAT environment. So the routes that you have available will only be the ones that you have access to through your executing broker. I have my default account set and my default quantity set. That will apply to all components within the workspace. But just so in case you were curious about how we got to those quantities in the first place. So that will be my default. If I select a price within the depth ticket at a price level, I'm going to click on this 91 level here. Obviously, we'll pre-populate with that price and my default quantity. Let's go ahead and enter an order for 200 shares at 86.91. See if we get filled here. We can see that one working. Might get filled, but if not, I'm going to, yep, and there we go. I got a fill on NVIDIA. So if I look at my filled tab, I can see that I bought 100 NVIDIA. at 86.90. Excuse me, 200 NVIDIA at 86.91. I'm going to put in an order now that I want to not get filled. So let's put this down at maybe 75. Maybe I should have chosen a slower moving stock, but that's all right. Give you an idea of what the working order looks like in the trade book, in the depth ticket rather. So your working order will be displayed here. I'm working to buy 100 shares, 86.75. It will be displayed at the corresponding price level. This X right here will be just and highlighted in purple, and there's a reason we have that purple color, which I'll show in a minute for modifications. You can cancel orders directly from the depth ticket here by using this X. You can do the same in the order book. If I've got a couple working orders here and I want to cancel that NVIDIA order, great, I can do that from the order book. But let's go ahead and put that order back in so we can see how you can modify it from the depth ticket itself. Once I have a working order, if I select that, if I click on that order to select it, we'll see that this modify button becomes enabled. So if I want to, let's go ahead and tick this up a couple of pennies. We'll tick this up to 78 and click modify. My order is now working 86.78 bid. That is also reflected in the order book. I can, of course, change quantity as well. So if I want to make that a 200 lot, easy peasy, modify that. I'm now working 200. You can do those same operations from the order book, from the trading monitor itself. So if you would rather adjust your orders from here, where you're not kind of following that jumpy depth ticket display level, take this up to 300. I can modify my quantity directly from there as well, and we see that 300 lot working in there.
And Bernie, the system's also automatically marking the orders buy, sell, or short because it knows your position, right?
Thank you very much for bringing that up. Yes, we for sell orders, we are reading your current inventory, and we have, of course, this is inclusive of any inventory, anything that you trade on Rival, but we can also pull in your positions via drop copy from any other systems that you have. We have a morning auto balance process, so you can pull in positions from external sources. So we can, and then we'll use that as your inventory to mark sell versus short. So let me give you a look at what that looks like. So if I queue up a sell order here at 97, and I enter that, let's look at our filled orders. That was a sell. I have enough quantity inventory to cover that. I'm going to go ahead and I got my position. I'm long 453, so I know if I put in a 600 lot, it's going to be short. But you're going to see that what we do is we will actually split that order between sell and short. So in that case, oh, this is sell. I did get that off. So this will be 600 lot sell. If I sell again, now that I am short NVIDIA, we will mark that as a short. So we will, I didn't get the right linking, but we will automatically mark buy versus buy sell. We will mark it as a short if you do not have enough inventory to cover the order. Thanks, Jack, for bringing that up. The algo button, algo drop down here is can be used for our rival algos. So there are a couple that I won't go into in great detail on this call. I'm going to pull in a ladder, which is not all that useful, of course, for equities. But just to give you an idea of how our system works, I am going to be looking at the ladder later when we talk about the spreader. But all of the algos are available from the ladder or from the depth ticket. OCO orders, bracket orders, eye on the fly is a sniper order. Take diminishing size is also known as with a tick. So all of those algos are going to be available from the depth ticket as well. So that's basic order entry, order management. I should bring up quick cancels. So we do have within, so if I'm working an order in NVIDIA here, I'll put one in below the market. This cancel all button here will cancel just my NVIDIA orders. So I'm going to hit that. I do have confirmations turned on. This is optional. You can turn those on or off in your settings. But if we cancel that, I see all my NVIDIA orders are now canceled. If I use this cancel all button from the order book, from the position manager, excuse me, from the trading monitor, that is sort of your panic button that will cancel all orders across all products. And now I've got nothing working in there. So I'll go ahead and put an order back in so we can just sort of monitor that working. So that's your basic order entry, order management from the depth ticket. We are very happy with the way this component has come along. There's a lot more enhancement to come, and we're very, very eager for feedback, whether on this call or individually. So any thoughts you have on the depth ticket and order management in general, we are all ears.
Bernie, is there any limit to how many we can have open?
How many depth tickets you can have open?
Right.
No limit. So you'll probably want to, again, if you have multiple monitors, you'll probably want to break those up. But there is no limit to the number of components you can have in an individual window. So if I want to add another depth ticket, I can add as many as I want. You'll have to reconfigure your workspace a little bit to account for that auto resizing. But no, that's a great question, Jack. There is no limit to the number of depth tickets you can have. So I know that some people like to have dozens of these lined up. You can most certainly do that. Let's take a look at our options components. I'll talk a little bit about equity options. So in this screen, and once again, I've just sort of flipped between the different windows that I have created. Of course, I'm working on only one screen, so I'm only going to show you one at a time. But this is what I mean when I talk about multi-monitor support. You can set up as many windows, or pages, some people like to call them, as you like. This chart, we'll get to the chart in a minute, but I'm going to talk first about options. So in this screen, I've got four components that I have added to my window. In the top left here is our option chain. I've got NVIDIA options loaded up here, and I've linked this. I'm going to talk a little bit about linking with the option chain as well. My portfolio, my position manager here, including my option positions, and I've got a hot watch here, or a market watch, where I can monitor contracts. I can add instruments, and I'll show you how to do that when we add options. And then the top right here, I've got a vol graph. So the vol graph can be shown for any options that you have loaded in your workspace. So in this case, I've got my NVIDIA options loaded. I'm going to go ahead and expand a term. And we can see all our standard view of the option chain, but you'll notice that when I did, and I'll get into that in a second, but you'll notice that when I did that, the vol curve updated to show me the October 10th expiration. Similarly, if I take a look at the October 24th expiration, the vol curve, because it is linked, will update to show the October 24th expiration. Now, for this demo and sort of for convenience, I'm only showing a limited number of strikes. Of course, we have all strikes available to trade, but because our option chain is oriented vertically, a lot of people like to apply the strike filter. Only show me, let's do 9 strikes nearest to at the money, and in that way you can view more than one expiration at a time. Of course, that is customizable at your discretion. In the option chain itself, we have a pretty standard view in the option chain. Strikes listed down the middle, calls on the left, puts on the right. Of course, all of these columns can be manipulated, and you'll see I've got my delta exposed as well as volume, but there are a couple more columns in here that are going to be very interesting, particularly the settle volume and the difference in the vol change. So I can display our settle vol and our vol change in the option chain, so we can see what the individual volatility was. Put that thing time. Show settle vol, we'll show vol change. So I can see what our current volatility is. Let's take, for example, this 185 strike. We're looking at 36.9 vol. Settle vol last night was 38.15. And so our vol change is down 1.25 points. The volatility that we are displaying comes from our auto fit curve. So this is not the volatility that's published by any exchange or any market data source at the end of the day. Rather, we are taking the settlement price, running it through our auto fitter to display our calculated volatility. The auto fit, the curve will draw the best fit curve through the call and put markets. So if I expose the calls and puts, you can see where the volatility is on each one of those individual strikes, and you can see that our curve is drawn through best fit that we can through the to draw a smooth curve through the current markets. Now, of course, on the tails, things get a little wider, and so you'll see a little deviation that's very, very normal, especially on the extreme tails. But I think you'll see that if you look at our theoretical prices, we really are nailing mid-market. To be clear, we are not simply taking the mid-market price to generate that theoretical value. Rather, we're doing it based on the curve that we draw. At this time, there are no tools for users to set their own vols. The curve will auto fit with a 0.01 move in the underlying, or on a timer base. So if you've got a very slow moving stock, it will update on interval, but we will capture just about every move in the market. You can see here in the bottom right of my vol curve, this was last updated exactly 1 minute ago, so NVIDIA must have moved at least 0.01% in that time. Now I mentioned linking. So again, we have the same capabilities here. So I've got my links tab here, and I've got a blue group created. So if I now want to take a look at Tesla options, for example, if I do that, we can see that my option chain updated to show Tesla, my vol curve updated to show Tesla. And so that's how you can very easily switch back and forth between products. When it comes to execution, so I've now opened up my my Tesla option chain. You can very easily enter orders directly from the option chain by clicking on a bid or an ask to bring up an order ticket. What is really useful here is when it comes to spread building, and I'll get into spread building momentarily, but if I select a strike, so this 455 strike, we're going to show you every instrument that can be created using just that one strike. So of course you've got the call and the put, but we will also give you our straddle theoretical value and the combo. What's nice here is that now that I've got that strike selected, if I want to monitor that call, maybe I don't want to place an order on it right away, I can grab that call and pull it over into my hot watch here and monitor that call directly from there. Same thing with the put or any of these strategies. I mentioned, that we will show you every combination that's available with that one strike. If I select a second strike, we're now going to show you every combination that is available to be built using those two strikes. So the 455, 460 strike, we can of course create call vertical, put vertical, strangle risk reversal, but we've also got 1x2s, 1x3s. You can customize your spread most definitely. But this can be very helpful if you just want to quickly pull up a ticket for a put vertical. Now, when I do, you're going to see that I don't see market data on this. That's because I'm in our demo environment. So we don't see a bid and ask right now. But if I do create that spread, and all I did there was click on the pvert button, we're going to show you our theoretical value and market for each individual leg, and our theoretical value in Greeks for the spread as a whole. Again, if I want to, so I can place an order on this directly from here by clicking in the bid or ask cell. And again, if I want to monitor this put vertical, but I don't want to trade it, I can drag that into my hot watch and save it there. The spread building using our classification system can be very, very quick, very powerful. I can, like I said, add a third strike here if I know that I want to create a butterfly, a call fly, put fly, and iron butterfly. We do have the capability as well for you to create custom spreads on your own. So if you don't want to use those strikes and those buttons sort of get in your way, you can use this sort of shortcut spread building by clicking on theoretical values. So if I want to build that 455, 460 put vertical that we're looking at down here in my hot watch, I'm going to click a left click on the 460 put to add it as a buy leg. I'm going to right click on the 455 put to add it as a sell leg. Our classification will recognize this as a put vertical. We were created in that manner and display it just as I have explained. But this allows you to create custom spreads as well that may not fit the standard format. So if I want to add a third leg to this, it does not need to be equidistant or anything like that. Maybe I just want to create a three-way here. This is now a generic spread, 1x1x1, sort of a broken skinny fly. But I certainly have the ability in here to change my quantities. So I can, and when we do, of course, we'll update the spread theoretical value and the spread Greeks. So you have a lot of flexibility within this spread builder component if you want to create your own custom option strategies. In addition, we have the ability to cover a spread. So I can add an underlying leg to this, and I can specify, I can send this off to your executing broker, with the underlying leg and my delta of choice, and that will be executed as a package with the stock as a leg.
And the limit on legs is only whatever the exchange will accept, we can send.
That's correct. There is, I can add legs until the cows come home here, as many as I want. The only restriction is whatever the executing broker will accept. So I haven't seen a user put in a 30-legged spread yet, but I'm sure that will happen. As long as the broker accepts it, we can support it, and we will always give you the accurate theoretical value in Greeks on whatever structure you create. So there's a lot more in terms of options. We also, actually, I should show this as well. We do have this auto hedge capability. So the auto hedge will hedge with the appropriate number of shares to make your trade delta neutral. That can be toggled on or off at your discretion. And we have a couple of option-specific algos, which I've done a webinar on this in the past. I won't go into great detail here, but there are a couple option-specific algos like minimum edge, where you can specify an edge at which to pull your order if your criteria is not met. We've got a contingent order, which is sort of auto hedge in reverse. In other words, only trade these options once Tesla reaches my specified price level. And you also have the ability to enter orders in vol terms. So in vol terms, we will simply maintain the volatility with any move in the underlying, and we'll adjust the price to maintain that volatility level. For just a brief bit of history, Rival has a very strong background in the options space, and this has been a focus of ours for many years, both on the future side and on the equity side. And so there are a lot more option-specific tools that I can get into on a different demo or an individual demo, but the options capabilities certainly are robust. I did mention as well, when we talk about linking, we look at, so in Microsoft here, I've got a little teeny call on here in Microsoft, but just to give you an idea of how the linking works here, if I do select that call from my portfolio, we're going to give you that Microsoft option chain, but we're also going to open to the expiration that I have clicked on. So this is October 3rd, 2025. We'll show you that expiration. And then, of course, the vol graph will update as well. I've got a little work to do here on making sure that that's centered when I link, but you get the idea of how that linking works. I'm going to move on now to our spreader, because this is something that we're very proud of and we think of as a differentiator here. Our spreader, originally started out as a tool for futures traders, where you could create your own custom synthetic instruments with your own custom ratios. But we have found that equities traders are using this quite a bit, and in fact, we have some traders who are trading equities versus futures using our spreader, which is pretty unique to us. I'm going to create, in this case, a very basic equity spread, equity to equity spread, and show you how that works. So our spreader, I'm going to create a new spread here. This is what I'm going to, and I'll just create a very simple, let's do NVIDIA as our leg 1. Let's do Microsoft as our leg 2. And so I'm going to create this, we'll name this demo spread. And this is where I can specify the relationships that I want to trade, the relationship in which I want to trade these stocks. So again, very simple example. I'm going to create a 1-to-1 spread, Microsoft versus NVIDIA. Our quantity multiplier will dictate the ratio in which the spread is executed. So in this case, 1-to-1. I said I would do 1-to-1, but let's make it 2-by-1 because that'll be a little more interesting to view. The price multiplier simply manipulates the price of the displayed price of the spread. So this is not affecting the manner in which it's executed, but rather the manner in which you want to see the spread. So if you want to see your synthetic spread hovering around even money, I would create, so this is about 3-to-1 or maybe 2.5-to-1 if I want to try and get this close to an even money display. Let's say 2.5, we'll see what that looks like. But that is only for display purposes, so you can see the value the spread in the manner that you choose. But regardless of how I display the prices, will still be executed in a 1/2 ratio. At least one leg must be quoted and one leg must be hedged. You can quote multiple legs. We'll talk about that in a moment. But what this is dictating here is that I'm going to enter an order on this spread. Our spreader is going to look at the price in Microsoft and quote NVIDIA based on the price in Microsoft and my desired spread price. My recommendation to most users is to use the more liquid leg as the hedge leg. When it executes, when a quote gets filled, we then shoot an order at the hedge leg to fill the spread. You can quote both legs and hedge both legs. There is a little bit of risk there, which most users are familiar with the spreader, which is that you could get double filled. So if the spread meets your price on both legs, if you're working a 5 lot, you may get filled on 5 twice. You may get some sort of partials. That is certainly up to you, but that is available. For the purposes of this demo, we'll keep it at just a 1 quote leg and 1 hedge leg and see what that looks like. Throttle ticks are used to control how often your spread is repriced. So if you're worried about over messaging to the broker, to the exchange, you might put some additional throttle ticks on here. Inside ticks will determine how often the spread is repriced as the hedge leg moves toward your desired price. Outside ticks determine how often the quote is repriced as your spread moves away from your desired price. We'll leave those alone for now so we can see the spread updating it as frequently as possible. Hedge tick offset can be thought of as pay up ticks. So how much slippage are you willing to put into your spread in order to get a fill and avoid getting hung on the hedge leg in the case that you have quick moving instruments. So now that I've created this 1/2 spread, I'll go ahead and save it. And I've got my demo spread up here. So from the spreader component, I can enter orders directly from here with the order ticket. Certainly that is available to you, but my recommendation is to display this spread in a ladder. And this is what I mentioned, this is where ladders can come in, can be very handy for equities. So I simply grab this demo spread and drop it into my workspace here. I'm going to be presented with this option. Do you want to see just a ladder for the spread, or do you want to see each and every leg? I'm going to click all legs so we can see that thing working. Do a little bit of adjusting here, and we can see that on the right-hand side, the rightmost ladder is my demo spread that I've created, and I've got a ladder here for NVIDIA and for Microsoft. So if I place an order on this demo spread, let's go ahead and place a 50 lot. Make sure I've got the right account here. Apologies, 1 second. I might have to demo this with a future spread. Let me pull in a future spread where I know I have an account set up to get an idea of how this is executed. Apologies for that error. I'm going to pull in this ES versus NQ spread. This will be executed in the same manner, but you'll get an idea of how this works with quote and hedge. So if I'm looking at ES versus NQ and I put in an order, we will see my quote leg working. When that gets filled, when the quote leg gets filled, we'll hit the hedge leg. So in this case, if I'm working my 10 lot and I take this up to get filled, we're going to see in my trade book, I executed ES versus NQ at my desired price. And if I expand that, I can see each leg fill. So apologies for the setup on the equities. That will work the same way for equities, Microsoft versus NVIDIA, or anything else that you set up, or in addition, Microsoft versus equities versus futures. Trade book will record all your trades, and then of course your portfolio will capture everything that you have traded in your spread. But those are then classified under the spread name, so we can see the parent order ES versus NQ in this case. It would be whatever you name your spread. That gets us to the end of what I wanted to demonstrate. Jack, do we have any questions that we want to cover here? Don't see anything right off the bat, but maybe anything that somebody sent to you directly.
Not specifically, just in terms of, can you show the available columns again? And just to point out that everything is extremely flexible and customizable. So we try to provide as much data as possible, and then you can narrow it down based on your view, what you want to see.
That's a great point. Let me use the Hot Watch or the Market Watch to show that. That's where we have the most available. So any of these, of course, can be hidden or shown. In this case, I have the VWAP hidden. I can show that, and if I want to manipulate this, drag it up closer to my total size, I can do that. My VWAP is displayed that way. You can also manipulate columns directly from the component by dragging, resizing. So the flexibility here is pretty high. A question that often comes up when we talk about spreader is how many legs can you have in your spread? My happy answer is that there is no limit to the number of legs. We have some users, as I mentioned, trading a basket of stocks versus an underlying future. And in that case, they have up to 50 stock legs in their spread. So there is no limit to the number of legs that you can add. Certainly, you're taking on a little bit of additional risk with slippage, the more legs that you have. But in terms of the way that you can customize your spread, unlimited there.
Yep. So some clients use it as a basket trader, some use it as a pairs trader, and others just as a spreader. And then I guess the last thing I would point out here is that as a technology firm, we're agnostic to executing brokers as well as clearing firms. So wherever your account might be custodied, we'd be able to plug into and connect with other OEMSs or risk systems.
Great point, thank you, Jack. And and to that end, if your broker supports, if you are multi-asset trading, your broker supports futures as well as options and equities, you can route that to the broker, or you can have direct connect to the exchange where we are co-located. If there are no additional questions, we can wrap up here. This webinar has been recorded, so you will have access to that recording. And of course, both Jack and I are available at any time to answer questions, questions on functionality, questions on pricing. Of course, we'll direct you to Jack. But please make sure that you do have our information and that you reach out at any time. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I hope to hear from some of you very soon.
Thanks, everyone.